All right. Hi, everybody. So right now we're just taking a stroll around the neighborhood. Today is actually like a nicer day out. It's like 40 something, 50 degrees ish out here. It's been like in the single digits though. I would say like it felt like for the past week, and then all of a sudden the temperature just went up. So we're trying to enjoy the little bit of nice weather that we got right now. So in the car right now, it's just me, my husband, and my son. My daughter is actually with my mom right now because we had the family over our house for the holidays, which is usually how we do. And I was thinking, like, I was debating, like, should I tell my mother about my channel? I have a feeling like I have family members that know about my channel. I have like I speculated, but they don't tell me anything. But I'm not really sure. I mean, if they were to find it on their own, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, I'd be like all upset or whatever. But I just haven't told anybody like in my family about my channel. So I'm telling you guys now. I don't know if I ever said that. Like, nobody in my channel, only my immediate family knows about my channel, to my knowledge. Again, like I said, like, it could be that some people might have an idea about it, but yeah. So anyhow, this video is gonna be really like impromptu. I really don't have. I have things I want to talk about, but it's not. It's going to kind of be like an array of different things. I thought about talking about certain things here on YouTube, but to be quite honest, I feel like things have just been kind of on the boring side on here. No offense to anybody, but and I think it's also me kind of getting bored with certain things and with certain topics, so that's probably why I feel that way. But on another note, there's been some things that I've thought about, like, discussing with my husband here. So I figured I would discuss it. He's here. Yeah, with you. One thing I wanted to get out that I just recalled that I've been wanting to say for a while. I don't know not that I would think anybody would really care, but my husband had did an ancestry DNA test, like, I don't know, like a couple of years ago. And it was interesting when his results came back that he's only like, what are you, like, less than 10% Chinese or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's less than 10% Chinese. And I felt that I would bring that up because I kind of feel like when people talk about like Asian culture and like Chinese and who's this and who's that and who's Japanese and whatnot, there's Asian people that are very mixed with other Asian people. And it turns out that my husband is one of those people. So I thought that it was very interesting, and I hope that this sun is not blinding everybody, and I'm trying to move my camera so it doesn't. But I thought that was very interesting.
How's that any more interesting than what you have?
Well, because I think that when people think of like Chinese people, I don't think that most of them think that, that you guys are mixed. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that they think anything like that. They'll just think that you guys are Chinese and that's it.
Well, that's They're stupid and they only know about themselves.
Well,
they don't even know about themselves.
Well, that's a combination of both things. Sure. Yes, sure. Yeah. And I think that it's also, I think that a lot of people, no offense, a lot of people don't particularly care about that. You know what I mean? The only time people care about that is if they mix with you guys, then that's when they're going to care, or they're going to have it, or whatever. Or they want to, people are going to do that anyway. Look, people generalize, about, Latin people all the time. Yeah. So regardless of what, nationality we are or what race we are or whatnot. So
yeah, but get back to what you was trying to get at.
So the reason why I brought that up is because I think of because of the way you look. You don't look like the average Chinese person either. I knew you, even though I knew you were Chinese, but a lot of people, I've said this before in videos and we joke about it all the time, that people think, especially when we were in New York City, that my husband is Mexican. Like, that's the first reaction that people have when they see my husband. And it's because he's more olive skin toned, and he's I guess you would say probably taller, taller than the average Chinese person, and he's
that's because
he's
there's only
thicker.
short Chinese people.
Right, he's thicker, and he's more stocky. He's not skinny like
because
the
I got Samoan in me.
Right. So anyhow, I figured that I would bring that up, and also like, when people have spoken about, colorism things, and I said before that my husband has experienced certain things with regards to colorism because he's actually on the darker side. So he went through certain things with his own family members that are, they look more of the, I guess you would say, the stereotypical Chinese, where they're very fair skinned, and the women have made little snide comments to him when he was a child, even though he's always had very good feedback from people on the outside, whether it be other Asian people, whether it be Latin people, black people, white people. He gets a lot of very good feedback from people on the outside. So let's see if you guys could see the cows. Let's see. Can you see the cows?
They got the babies.
They got the babies.
Look at that
Yeah.
face.
How
Look at that
adorable
cute
are
face.
they? They are so stinking cute.
See, now I can't have steak.
Yeah, now we can't. Yeah, right. I don't believe that for a minute.
But that's how you.
It does feel like that though when you
That's how
see
you
them,
defeat
but
the cuteness. You gotta eat meat.
Yep. They are adorable.
Punch
So
yourself in the face.
punch yourself in the face. Why would you do that?
Because it's too cute.
Okay, you could do that. I'm not doing that to myself. Anyhow, that was awkward. So I felt like I, would bring that up because we've spoken about before, like when it comes to Asian people and colorism and stuff like that, and how different it is over there, how extreme it is, in that side of the world, especially in places like India where they have like the caste system and everything, where it's really extreme. And I always found it weird because I've told my husband this before, like I've always found like Indian women, like in particular, to be like the most beautiful women in the world. That's just something I've always felt. No lesbian stuff or whatever, but it's just the truth, and I know that people, like, I've joked or whatever, and I say stuff about
beauty when you start walking through a museum and you notice the difference when you transition to European art, American art, how much more eclectic different art is from around the world.
Yeah, that's if people go to museums though. And I no offense to people on here, but I by the way some of the people speak, I can't really see a lot of these people going to museums like that. They don't really sound like they have
the exposure is limited.
Yeah, it sounds like their exposure is limited with a lot of things, not just that. And I'm not saying everybody, but I don't know. Not everybody on YouTube sounds like the brightest bulb, so to speak. And I know that people say stuff like that about me too, but it is what it is. I'm used to shit like that too, so. But yeah, it's the truth. And I've always found that to be very strange when it comes to, their colorism is extreme. The stuff that we go through here in the States, honestly, I feel like it pales in comparison to stuff like that. But I'm not going to get too into that because I know how offended people get with that. Anyhow, people think that they have it the worst in the world all the time. And they don't realize how bad things are elsewhere.
It's just different.
Sure. Yeah, it is. Different is a very light way of explaining it. You know what I mean? Where you have people, like if you look at Indian media, for example, those people in those videos and what, everybody is white. Meanwhile, the majority of the people in that culture are dark. You know what I'm saying? That's true colorism, where they get no representation in the media, like zero. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That is extreme, and that's foul. And I don't think that the States is like that. People treat it like that, but it's no way in hell.
No, it's not like that.
Absolutely
it's not completely one-sided.
Yeah, it's not. Like over
especially
there, it's
in media
insane.
representation.
Yeah, no.
But the caste system out there is alive and well.
Exactly.
It's fully functional.
Exactly.
Like you have these people that's at the lowest caste. They clean. I guess they would clean the sewage. Right over here in America, anyone can clean the sewage and make good money. But over there, you clean the sewage, you're not making good money. You're cleaning the sewage because that's where by caste, that's where you belong at,
Mm-hmm.
where you're supposed to be at. So we're not even going to pay you good money.
Yeah. And I think that one of the things that I wanted to bring up too is like, you know, with our relationship, right? Now, people can bring up like how different people will treat people who are half black and half Asian versus half white and half Asian, right? And then you got people like me who are technically mixed, right? But I am on the, you know, quote unquote whiter side.
Fairer side.
Right, I'm on the fairer side, right? But to me, I still look mixed. People will argue that I don't. I know some people would be stupid and argue that I don't. It is what it is.
They all dumb. You come out into this area, you could tell.
Yeah, you come to this area
She's
where
not
we
one of
live.
those, right?
I don't look like these. Yeah, I don't. And I know that people do stuff like that on purpose to make you, you know, to make me feel a certain way and stuff. People do stuff online all the time to make me feel a certain way. I'll tell you that right now. It happens not every day, but you know, it's happened to me enough where people have done a lot of things to try to make me feel, especially to try to do their best to make me feel insecure about the way that I look. That happens quite a lot, you know. I mean, I know that happens to all women on here, but I've had a lot of people do terrible things and say terrible things about me, about the way I look on here. So
people are really tough on the internet, and then there's a lot of cognitive dissonance from what I came across on YouTube too.
Yeah.
Like people live in a fantasy, and people have selective hearing. You know?
And there's people that are there's a lot of trolls and I did a research on that, and I did a post on it that a lot of these trolls, they are narcissists. They have narcissistic sociopathic tendencies, personalities, you know. So you know, I always try to keep that in mind, that you know that there's probably people on here that have like a lot of like serious issues, and I'm not trying to come out on here making myself try to be perfect or whatever the fuck, because I'm not. But you know, I do think that people, you know, really they have the idle time to talk a lot, and they have the idle time to, you know, spit out certain narratives, and then they might have a certain, you know, they gravitate to each other, and they kind of make these large, you know, crowds of people and these big followings of people that are very like-minded, you know what I mean? And they have like a toxic way about them, and they're very like-minded. So it is what it is. And I've always been someone who's been pretty independent on here, and I still am. So, and I do that on purpose. So, can't really trust anybody, you know, on here. But it is what it is. And, you know, anyhow, I wanted to bring up how it is with our relationship. And even though I'm quote unquote white passing to some people, right, and I've joked about that or whatever, and when I say stuff like that, I think people assume, or they'll try to make it seem as though I want to be white, or like I'm trying to be white, like I'm trying to be something. People are fucking retarded, I swear to God. But when I'm like in Chinatown with my husband, you guys have no idea the nasty glares that I would get, mainly from the elderly Asian women out there. It's bad, and it happens, you know, quite frequently to me. We haven't gone out there as of recent with my son, but with my daughter, forget it. Like, you know, and it's not to say that everybody's bad with us. A lot of times we do get, like I have said before, like the looks of curiosity, but the looks of like disdain are really real.
It's really from the women.
Yeah, and it's from the women. It's never from the men. You know, usually a lot of the things that I go through on the outside, you know, unfortunately it happens with women. And then, you know, when it comes online or whatever, and it comes to real life, sometimes the men, you know, men are not that nice with me either. So that's a whole other issue. But yeah, the men don't really give me problems. It's like the women that'll like look at us and look at me. And I've noticed, and this is something that I figured I would bring up too, when we've seen interracial couples that are like Chinese or Asian or whatever, any type of Asian, if it's an Asian man with a woman of a different race, that they don't get as many looks. And I asked my husband, why is that? Why does it seem like people don't really care about the women in your culture like that? So I figured you can answer that.
With Asian women, and it's not necessarily just Asian women.
Chinese
and people and cultures that are impacted by Confucianism, I think. So the woman usually gets no love, right? And when you have a daughter, expected that the daughter is going to be married out, no longer having the family name and stuff like that. So in a way, the woman is the throwaway, right? Unfortunately.
That's awful.
Yeah. But if you look at what happens, though, the women are the one who actually been taking care of the family,
Right.
holding the family down. But subconsciously, I think that's what happens, right? So it's okay for the girls to go out, even if it means going outside of the culture,
Yeah.
because they're not carrying the family name.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why you get mean looks from Asian women or Chinese women is because it's like you took one of our men away from us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So I figured I would mention that because I think that people may not know about that too much. You know, people only kind of talk about all the difference between what it is to be a Blasian versus a Eurasian and the
There's also a
experiences that
gender
they go
difference.
through
There's a
and da da da
gender
da da.
difference.
You know, it's you know, it is different. The gender difference is very real, and I didn't recognize that until even when there was times where him and I would be in Chinatown, and I've seen this would be the strangest part. I would see Chinese women that would be like, let's say, with like a white guy, and they'd be looking at me wrong, and I'd be really confused. I'm like, why are you looking at me wrong? And you're with a, you know, the just the fact that she would care in any way, I found it really odd, you know. But it happens, and I figured I would mention that. You know what I'm saying? Because in the reverse situations, which I don't really see too often, but I do see it more than my mix, which would be like a Latin man and an Asian woman or whatever. We don't care. You know, it's never a thing. You know, but it's so different from their side and how they view things. They can tell that I'm Latin. You know what I mean? They probably know what a Puerto Rican looks like in New York City, so maybe when they see me, maybe they can tell, or maybe they could tell that I'm, you know, of quote unquote white adjacent. You know, like I'm not white enough or something. I have no idea, but it's something that I have noticed too, that I found really odd.
Maybe, and not for nothing, but you know, you walk around, I know you don't carry yourself that way, but to other people's perception, you can come across as pretty high end.
High end? Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't think that I'm better than anybody, but there is times that no, you're right, because there is times that people do treat me like I go around thinking that I'm better than anybody or everybody, and I don't. You know,
you're very classic,
but I do stay to myself
at the same time.
Well, thank you very much.
I think for some people that could be taken as you're a snob without even knowing you. They just making that assumption.
I get that a lot. I've gotten that a lot, especially growing up in the area that we grew up. I had that a lot, and I think to an extent I still
stupid around where we grew up.
Yes, the people are stupid.
Lighter skin, people make fun of you because of that.
Yep.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Because we did make fun of people who were either too dark or too white.
Yeah.
I remember that growing up.
Yeah. So, you know, and I had it, you know, and when people got to know me, they were like, oh, you're like this, like, oh, like, you're right, you know, you're not bad, you're not this, you know. I'm like, well, you know, no, I'm not.
Talk to me. Yeah,
like, just it's what, you know, whatever. So the people that take the time is fine. The people that don't, like, I could care less, you know. But you know, I do go through that a lot, and I still go through that. And sometimes the Asian, you know, sometimes the women are not so nice, and then, you know, sometimes the women are very nice, and sometimes they see the kids and they're like, oh my God, the kids are adorable. Yeah, usually we get really good responses with our children, and that's something that I will say. Like, even out here, like where we live, oh my God, anytime we go out anywhere, my son, by the way, I don't think I've ever said like how my daughter, she looks more like my husband and me, and my son looks more like me and my husband. So hopefully people understand that when I say that. So she looks more Asian, I guess, if you could say, but her hair, they both do look Asian. But my daughter's hair is actually on the light side. Like, it came out like a very light brown. Like, my hair's brown, but her hair is actually lighter than mine.
Looks blonde when the sun shines.
Yeah, it looks almost blonde when the sun hits it. And my son, on the other hand, he came out with very curly hair, like me. and people are like, oh my God, like his hair's so curly. Yeah, they're so like, wow. They're like, did he come out? Like, yeah, that's how he came out. And when he was a baby, When he was first born, his hair was very straight, and then I would say once he hit like about maybe 6 months or so, like his hair started all of a sudden it started to curl, and the curls are getting really tight. But he looks
Puerto Rican fro.
He does have a Puerto Rican fro, so I do kind of like, we do kind of like joke about that with him. But he looks a lot like me, but like an Asian version of me, if you could imagine, so he looks like me a lot, but he also looks a lot like my husband. But his hair is not, the color of his hair is more brown. But my daughter actually has like the lighter hair, and her hair is more on the straight side. So yeah, that's how my kids look. And when they're out, they get a lot of really good feedback from people. People tend to give us a lot of compliments. People, even with my daughter when she was really small, they come up to us and like say stuff and stuff like that, which is, it's cute, and even in Chinatown, they'll get like, sometimes like it's funny because there's times in Chinatown where the people will there'll be like a lady that'll give us the disapproving looks, and then she'll see the kids, and then like her face, she'll have like a smirk, like the kids are so cute, and like they want to like, take the kids, or they want to see the kids, or stuff like that. So it's kind of funny when stuff like that happens. So
what's different up here is I guess interracial couples.
Oh,
when we see each other, it's like we give each other like, we're part of the same team. So
sometimes, it is awkward because, of course, knowing the area that we live in, and we've told you before, this is like a 99% white area. So, of course, when you see interracial, it's white and black. That's normally what we see out here. So, like in my daughter's school, like, there is a few kids in there that are like black and white biracial. They're adorable. But other than that, like, there's not too many. There's really no mixes out here. There really isn't Latin people out here like that either. There's like not that many Asian people. There's some, but there's not a lot. There's barely any. Yeah, there's really not.
But there is camaraderie, which is strange as heck. There is camaraderie between different minority groups. When we see each other, like I see let's say a darker skinned person, or a person that's, more
a person of color,
foreign.
Basically, Or
we give each other the head nod and the acknowledgement.
It's true. It is really true. It's different out here. Yeah, but like there is a different thing. Like like when they. I think we've said that. We've already said that before though in a previous video though, that like when we see other like people of color. Normally it happens more with black people, because I feel like if I see other Latin people, like they tend to be, I guess they're more like maybe South American, and they might be like construction workers and stuff like that, and they might not even be able to tell that I'm Latin or not. Because Latin people, I think I've said this before, a lot of times Latin people, they think I'm something else. So they'll think my husband is Mexican, Latin people, and I'm talking about Latin people, and they'll think I'm something else. They'll think I'm like Arabic or something else.
Isn't it
Jewish.
Nice to speak some Spanish?
They always think I'm something else. And if they think I'm Latin, it's always Colombian. Oh, maybe Colombian.
No
like
way.
that's what I get. That's what I've got. That's what I get. Well, have gotten most of my life from like other Latin people. Is what it is. Why? I don't know. I have no idea. And I think it probably is also the way I carry myself or whatever, and how I dress. Not that I'm saying I dress all that great or whatever. I think I kind of have never really like dressed like everybody else in the neighborhood and stuff like that. I was always a little on the quirky side with how I dress and carry myself sometimes. So anyhow, I think that's about it, because this is like a 25-minute long video. If anybody sat through it and you guys are liking the view at all, I don't even know where we are. We're just driving around. I have no idea where we are. I'm looking around, I'm like, where the heck are we? No idea, but it is so nice outside, and I wanted to like get out of the house. And I don't know if you guys could hear it in my voice, but I'm kind of getting over like a cold. My daughter brought home like a cold from school. She was out sick from school, and then it wasn't COVID, thank God, but she got like all of us sick. So except for my husband, he's the only one that didn't get sick. Everybody else, we all got sick. So even my son is a little under the weather. All right, All right, so I guess that's about it. I can't really think of anything else to talk about. Is there anything else you have in mind you want to talk about? If not, I'm closing it out. Hope you all enjoy your new year. I don't know when I'm going to be coming back on here to do another video. Who the hell knows? But I'll see you all in my next one. You take it easy, guys. Bye.